Of the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show, being brought to you by Blue Shamrock Music and my man, Mr. Stephen Brady. And on today's show, we've got a special guest, a very interesting guest to say the least, right? Our guest is only one of three dads who actually team up with their daughters in the Australian country music scene. That's right. Only one of three father daughter combos there are up in the Australian country scene, which is pretty cool. Another thing that's pretty cool, again, our artist name, his name is Mr. Andrew Ryan. His daughter, Amy, was the very first artist we interviewed as we opened up our journey with the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show. So we got history here tonight, and we're super excited to bring Amy's dad on the scene with us here this evening. And without any further ado delay, let's all welcome my friend, Mr. Andrew Ryan. How you doing, my friend?
Mate, I'm real good. It's a pleasure to be here talking with you. That's for sure. Today's a good day.
It most certainly is. And I mean, how exciting is that? That you're only one of three father-daughter combos in the country music scene. I mean, that's
Yeah,
got to make you feel good, right?
it does, mate. It does. I actually wasn't aware of that until that you told me, but no, it's something very special, and the music journey that I'm on at the moment is wholly and solely because of Amy and her um, desire and pleasure through music sort of thing. She got me involved in it. 5 years ago, I'd never held a guitar. I wrote music. I didn't know I could sing. I didn't know anything like that, and it was just through trying to help Amy on her journey with songwriting that got me interested. And here we are today, talking with the on the other side of the world, you guys in the USA. So it's a great journey, mate. A great trip that we're on. That's for sure.
So, kind of like walk us through that journey. How did that begin for you, and when did you decide that you wanted to go solo?
Um, it kind of happened by accident, mate. To tell you the truth, it was never something that I'd set out to do. And um, for the songwriting side of things with Amy, it started out with poetry. I like to write Australian bush poetry. It's probably a little bit similar to what they have in the United States. It's called cowboy poetry, and but in Australia, it's poetry and rhyme and meter that's about the land or the people that are from the land. Um, and so we used to write to keep the kids interested on road trips around Australia. I would say to them, let's write a poem about what we see today. Let's look out the window and instead of being there in the iPad or a screen or something like that, I could actually get them to look out and absorb what's around the countryside. And so when Amy decided she wanted to write songs, I just said to her, well, we'll just follow our principles that we used when we were writing poems and see how we go. And her very first song that she wrote that we did, I helped to put together. It was all Amy's words. It was just a matter of working out the structure of the song and I guess putting the storyline together. That we went to Australia. They have what's called the Tamworth Country Music Festival, and that's the biggest country music festival in Australia by far. And um, they have what's called the Tamworth Songwriters Association, and they have the songwriting competitions and performances during the day. And Amy was 10 years of age, I think, at this stage, and so she went there with her song, and she went up against all ages, and she actually won the day overall out of about 36 people, which was amazing. And we're just like, wow, okay, we can actually do this. And I guess that was the the green light for us to say, well, let's keep at it and let's keep doing it. We enjoyed it. It was fun. And we were just telling our stories. It wasn't manufactured or anything like that. We were just singing from our heart. And um, once we started to write together, um, there was a whole lot of stories that I had myself that all of a sudden just started flooding out of me, and I was writing them down on paper, and I'm like, all of a sudden I got this great big bunch of songs, and I figured to myself, well, if Amy wants any of them, she can have them. And but then there was just too many songs came, and they were just sitting in a book, and um, I'm a professional musician lady in Australia. Her name's Catherine Britt. I was at a songwriting event with her, and she asked me, Andrew, what are you ever going to do with all those songs you got in your book? And I said, I don't know. If Amy doesn't use them, they'll probably die there. And she said to me, mate, you can't do that. She said they're too good. They need to be sung. They need to be heard. And so I guess that was the thing for me to go, well, okay, I'll have a go at it, And so I did it in fun. It was more fun than anything. I didn't set out to set a high standard or anything like that. I went into the studio and it sort of happened by accident. Once again, Amy had been recording. There was a few days that were left spare. And I was given the opportunity to record a couple of songs. And so I did. And it was just a whole lot of fun. And believe it or not, I ended up winning one of those songs. I won Australian Bush Ballad of the Year with it in Tamworth. So, and New Male Artist of the Year from the Brumby Awards. And I just just went, wow, how did that happen? That was just, it was accidental. To me, it was accident. I was just having fun, and so from that day to this, I've just continued, and enjoying it, and um, I'm a lyricist more than anything. I love to write. I love to tell stories, and the music, to me, it just complements the storyline. My goal is to get into your head and have you understand. I'm trying to get into your head and but your heart as well. And so I'm not the greatest musician by any means, but with the right people around me, they make me sound good. So yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing story. So, when did you notice that Amy had a talent, and that she could do something big in the music scene? Obviously, she's having a successful career now, but
Yeah.
before all that began, when did you see
Oh,
some talent in her?
so to be honest, the very first time, because there was no music in my family at all, and there was other creative lines where like artwork, painting, um, beautiful portraits, that sort of stuff, and on both sides of my family. But um, Amy was about 2.5, and we were out in the outback at a place called Birdsville, and Amy's walking down the street, and she's kicking the two rocks. They're like red stones, um, and they're called gibber stones, for they come off the gibber plains. And Amy kicked these two stones along the street, and we were walking to the local. They call it a pub in Australia, but so we're walking to the local pub down the street, and um, Amy was always pretty strong, as a very young kid, and she picked these two stones up and she started just ripping the tune out and started a vocal to it, and I went, "Oh my god!" It wasn't just a little kid doing that. It actually sounded really good what she was doing, and I was kind of like, wow. And so when she finished that, she threw the stones on the ground and continued to walk. And I had an overwhelming feeling come on to me, you need to pick those up. And so I did. I picked them up, and I've kept them to this day. And she's actually plays them in her recordings when she plays the songs. But and there was another time when we were watching a band, and the same thing. She went and picked up two stones, and she's standing at side stage. She might have been about 6 or 7, and she just joined in, and she's like got this percussion thing happening, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So that was the earliest things that I noticed. But then when she was about 8, she asked for her first guitar, and I thought it would be a waste of time. But she picked that thing up and she taught herself 4 songs in a matter of weeks, and I just went, oh, that was a big surprise. And so once she started lessons, she just took off. She was natural, she just got a very good gift that she can hear the key, and um, she learns very, very fast. So yeah, it was an
That's
early,
awesome.
yeah. It was an early
Let's
age.
talk
So
about your song. Let's talk about your song.
Trucker's Life.
Yeah, Trucker's Love. Yeah. So talk about that song. How did that song come together? And right
Okay.
now, that song's doing real well right now.
Yeah, it is. It is doing good. So same thing. Like I said to you before, I love to tell stories, and it was Christmas dinner in 2022. A friend of mine and his partner, and for the very first time, he's an interstate truck driver, and he drives from the east coast of Australia to the west coast and back, and so for the very first time over Christmas, their children are old enough that she got to go and go with him in the truck, and so she sent me photos of their outback journeys and of these places that they're going. It was so cool, and a lot of these places I've already been, so it was cool that I could reference them, and I knew the journey because I'd driven it before, and um, so we're sitting there at Christmas dinner, and we just finished, and I get a message with all these photos, and they're out on a place called the Nullarbor Plain, and it's um, a very remote road, and it's about maybe 2,600 kilometres across there, something like that, and and it's through South Australia into the west into Western Australia, and um, it was 40 degrees, and they were cooking their Christmas dinner over the wheels of the prime mover, and they're getting smashed by flies and things, but just absolutely beautiful, picturesque scenery. And when I spoke to her, I just said, "So how about it? Do you think you'd like to trade the city for a trucker's life out back?" And she said, "I take my hat off to him. I don't know how he does it. It's hard. It's hard going, but it's just so beautiful, and it's captivating. Being out there." And um, she said, it was just one of those very, very special occasions for her. So when I that night I sat down and I wrote a lot of my songs. They start out as poems, it's like that Australian bush poetry. And so I wrote the song as a poem, and it was I sent it to them, and they loved it. And it was only about 2 or 3 days later I thought to myself, "Nah, I think that needs to be a song. That's a storyline that could be sung as a song." And so I turned it to song, and yeah, released it, and it's doing really well. So that's how it came about.
Wow. I mean, I actually had an opportunity to listen to that song prior to going live on the show with you here this evening. What a great song. I mean, it's got a great beat to it. It's a really cool song. It's a really catchy song. Maybe a song you can like listen to over and over again. And
Yeah,
so thank you for making music great. So
yeah.
speaking of music and you, what's up with you nowadays? You got anything going down right now?
Yeah, I do. Amy and I just participated in an event called the Big Red Bash, which is probably similar to what they have in the United States in Burning Man. But it's all Australian iconic rock. Pretty much all rock artists, like people like Men at Work, In Excess, that sort of caliber. And so Amy's been picked up to play in that. She just did it only a few weeks ago, and last year they had they have in one part of the festival is they have a talent competition, and so I won the talent competition last year,
Oh,
and
wow.
singing just one of my original Australian bush ballads, and so um, through that I've now got the opportunity to return. So they have two of these festivals a year. One of them is in Birdsville, the other one's in Broken Hill, and both of them are in the outback. And so we've just done the Birdsville event, and very shortly we will leave in about a week's time to head to Broken Hill to the Monday Bash. And so I'll get to. I'm a judge on the panel for the competition this year, and then we do a huge fundraiser day. It's called Big Blue Day, and it's for this year. The proceeds go towards Beyond Blue mental health. So that's a really good thing to be involved. There'll be a lot of people there. Probably 15,000 people will all accumulate in the outback, and have a wonderful festival of music for 4 days. It's something to look forward to, and yeah, it's great to be involved in. That's for sure. Very privileged to be a part of that.
What makes you love music so much?
Um, Man, good question. That's a good question. It makes you feel good. Like if you got a great storyline, for me so much of it is a storyline, but it is also the music. And um, if you can make somebody feel good, and then if you can get into their head and make their day, change their day, you've done a good thing. You really have. And so for me, that's probably my driver with the music. But yeah, great songs, they make you feel good, and who doesn't want to feel good?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me get some clarification. So, are you and Amy still working together, or are you doing like separate careers separately?
Yeah, so I tried to keep I try to let Amy be herself. That's the most important thing, is that she does her own thing. We're not recording songs together at the moment, but that will happen. We just want to make sure when we do it, it's got to be the right song, or the right songs. So there's a couple there, but I just don't think that they're of the standard that I want to be able to put out, because I want to keep what she has as something that's very special. So I try not to. We do write together. Don't get me wrong, whenever if she was writing a song, she'll come to me with an idea, or she say, "I'm not so sure about this line, Dad. What do you think?" And so I'll help guide her through that. Sometimes, hopefully, I can help sort those out to get it spot on. There are songs where we just sit down and we write together all the time too. So we've written quite a few songs together. She's got a bunch of them there waiting to be recorded. So, which is really cool. But yeah, I try to. I don't want to encroach on her best self, I guess is the best way to put it. So I'm happy to sail along on my own. And the thing is that I know that Amy doesn't need me. She's doing so very well on her own. So I think she's probably better off without Dad and just using me as maybe doing a couple of features here and there, sort of thing. So yeah.
What do you like most about the music industry?
Oh, mate, so many great people that we've met. So many great people. It's and the travel that we got to do, like earlier this year, we got to travel to North Carolina and
Oh,
like
my hometown. We got a studio
yeah,
up in the Carolinas, so
yeah,
awesome.
we were in. We went to the Kruger Brothers Academy. That was wonderful, and that was through Amy getting to perform with Jens Kruger in Australia, and opportunities have arisen from it, and that was just a wonderful, wonderful time. And um, believe it or not, we'll give you a little bit of an exclusive here. We're actually returning to the United States in September, and
Where
we
are
only
you going to
just found
be?
out. So we'll fly into Nashville, and we got a bunch of stuff that organised to do there, and then we will head to Mohican Bluegrass Festival up in Michigan, and then we come back and head across to IBMA to the Bluegrass in Raleigh, World of Bluegrass. So Amy's been selected from the panel on the World of Bluegrass for their program, Kids on Bluegrass. So we'll be heading across and spending another 3 weeks in the US in September. So very looking forward to that. It's gonna be great. So.
Hey, I might have to reach out, get some media credentials so we can come down there and cover you guys and maybe do some interviews and have them played on our show here.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great. That would be great. Yeah. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. But um, the music's been so very good to us, and so many wonderful people. It's just you meet a lot of people in your life. Um, and I look at in the last 5 years the amount of people that are not just people, but really nice people that can make a difference to your life and have made a difference to our lives, and that's all come about through music. So yeah, it is very special. It can change your life.
What's the funniest things ever happened to you in the music scene?
The funniest thing, wow. Um, I don't, man, I don't know. I think probably for me, I wouldn't say funny, but um, uh, I would say like special things, if I can answer it that way, would be to see to write a song with your daughter and see her up on stage. That supersedes everything.
Mm.
To see her up there performing and singing those songs and doing well with it, and especially when she's so passionate about what she does, and that you can tell it's just it just ticks the boxes, mate. It's so bloody good, so good.
I can only imagine, I have a daughter too, and back in the day, she was an amazing cheerleader, and
Yep.
I kept on, pushing her, say, hey, one day you could be like a professional cheerleader, right? And she's doing good
Yep.
for a while, but then she just didn't go with the dream. But the difference is, your daughter, Amy, who we actually interviewed, she was when we had her on the show, she was an amazing interview, just like you are. And one thing that stood out to me was you could see that passion, the passion you talk about
Yeah.
tonight. You could see
Yeah.
that passion that she brought out in that interview as well. Just the love
Yeah.
and passion for the music, and just being thankful for the opportunities that I presented to her. And you're kind of like
Yeah.
speaking about the same thing tonight, where you talk about like all the opportunities you guys are getting and how thankful you are, and how there's so
Yeah.
many great people in the music industry.
Yeah. It's if there's any advice, if there was one piece of advice I could give to people, and this is not just in music, but it's in life itself, but it so very much applies to your music, is that don't have expectations. Just have appreciations. Be appreciative for the things, the great things, and the good things that happen to you. Um, if you don't have expectations, you don't have disappointments, and that's so very important. Is that I feel, within music, if you have disappointments or closed doors, those and they get to you, and sometimes, you know what, when you stop and you look at it, the door was closed because you weren't meant to go through it. The one that you're supposed to go was actually down that way a little bit, and sometimes it takes you a little while to find it. But yeah, it's something that a principle that we've followed is just be very appreciative for the good things that happen, and it'll change your life if you live that way, I feel.
Yeah, great. That's some great advice, and I couldn't agree with you more. How can our listeners are watching now or will be watching later? How can they get in
Yep.
contact with you and check out your music?
Yeah, sure. So I've got a Spotify, that sort of stuff, and all of the digital platforms. Just Andrew Ryan. You can find me there, or on Amy's website. There's a link on Amy's website to My Dad, My Old Man, and there's a bit of a spiel and um, to find me over on amyryanmusic.com. Um, yeah, so or whatever it is you could order CDs and stuff like that through Amy's webpage, should you be one who likes CDs still and supports the artist. But yeah. So it's the music side of things. I'm just trying to think what I was trying to say here. I've got a little bit off track, but yeah, that's the main way that you'd find me is through those digital platforms. Just Andrew Ryan. Yep.
So you brought up a pretty interesting point about support. I heard you say, as you were talking to us about supporting the artist. That's going to be my
Yep.
next question as we wind down our show this evening. Again, everyone watching now that will be watching, thank you so much for supporting Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show, being brought to you by Blue Shamrock Music, and a special thank you to Stephen Brady, who actually supports and supplies our artists each and every week. So a special thank you to Stephen Brady. But here's my
Yeah, he does a
question
great
about
job.
support. Yeah, he does. He's an amazing person, and he has such a love and passion for supporting artists, just like yourself. But here's my question: as far as supporting artists,
Yeah.
what is your take on that? I mean, like when you present your music to all the major media platforms, do you think that they're doing it the right way, or would you maybe like to see some things
Uh,
change?
I think the business model is it's definitely not set up in favor of the musician, the artist. That's for sure. It's when you look at those big social media, the big platforms that are distributing music, they're making a lot of money, and unfortunately, not enough of it goes back to the people that are creating the music. The dynamic has totally changed on what it once was. I'm one that still buys CDs. I religiously buy CDs because if I buy a CD from an artist and it costs me $20, the artist gets $20. If I download or I listen to Spotify or one of those other platforms, that the money's going to the very very little of that money, 0.0002 of 1 cent per stream, actually gets back to the artist, and if you were to get into music to make money through digital distribution, unless you were very very fortunate, you're not going to make money doing it. You do it because you love the music and you love the passion for it. And like I said before, don't have expectations but appreciations, and um, that definitely applies for being paid from digital streaming, unfortunately. But yeah, it definitely needs to be. Yeah, it needs to be looked at. That's for sure. It's very difficult for, I would say, 95%, 5% of the musicians may get 95% of the money. Um, which is, it's probably stacked a little bit in the wrong way. So I think the industry needs help for that side of it.
Let me ask you this question, running off the one I just asked. Can it be fixed?
Uh, it would need to be totally restructured, mate. Anything could be fixed if people want to fix it, but it just needs to be the whole thing needs to be restructured and started again. Whether that be that how it happens, it's going to take a long time. It's like shifting sands. You can move a lot of sand if the wind keeps blowing, but if the wind doesn't blow, the sand doesn't move. And I think it's going to take a great big lot of effort from the musicians out there to, I guess, maybe one day force these entities into changing the way that they distribute, whether that's through people no longer, you know, should I say it, dare to say it, not putting your music up on these platforms. But the thing is, then if you don't put your music up, you don't get heard. So it's yeah, it's a can of worms, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears. I mean, I appreciate you sharing your feedback on that topic. I know it's kind of
No
a
worries.
pretty, yeah, it's probably a pretty touchy topic right now for artists. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Everywhere around the world, yeah.
Yeah, no question about that. As we wind down our show this evening, first and foremost, it was so nice to meet you, and thank you
Been a
for
pleasure,
spending
mate.
time with us. And would you like to? Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
Um, yeah, sure. Same thing again. It doesn't matter if you're a musician or whatever it is that you do in your life. The most important thing is that you can be yourself, be your honest and true self. And if you are, that's the best thing you can do. And sometimes the other word of advice, I guess, from me is that it takes a long time to learn, and sometimes you don't realize it until you're an adult. People are pretty hard on themselves. They can be hard on themselves, and there's one person that'll be there through all of your life, and it's yourself. And sometimes you just need to realize that you're your own best friend, and sometimes you just got to give yourself a pat on the back and say everything will be all right. And I think if you can take that with you, it's gonna put you in pretty good stead for your days.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Again, we have Mr. Andrew Ryan on the show with us here this evening. And as I mentioned earlier in our broadcast, he is the father of Amy Ryan, who actually was one of our very first artists we interviewed here on the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show. Again, being brought to you by Blue Shamrock Music and Mr. Stephen Brady. Again, special thank you to those folks as well. So it's amazing just interviewing Amy's dad on the show tonight. I just can't help but think of all the memories and all the great times we've had on this show, and how this show is all about supporting upcoming aspiring artists. Is that you? If it is, reach out to Blue Shamrock Music and reach out to Stephen Brady, and we can definitely help you to get the exposure and get your music out there and get the exposure. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be on our show as well. But again, a special thank you to Mr. Andrew for being on our show here this evening. And any final thoughts, my friend, before we wind this down?
No, mate, I just hope that everyone has a great day and keep smiling. Keep smiling.
I can agree with you more, my friend. Well, blessings to you and your family, and as you continue your musical journey. And we cannot wait. The next time we have you on the show, I want to bring back you and Amy both on the show together.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't that?
Yeah, we're gonna arrange that with Steven, and we're gonna have him invite you and Amy on the show together. I think that would be really, really cool. But until then, my friend, you take care of yourself. You be safe. And again, much success in your musical journey as you continue. And you take care.
Good on you, mate. Appreciate the support.
All right. And that's going to do it for another edition of the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show. Again, being brought to you by Blue Shamrock Music. It's your friend Russell K. Make sure you tell your family and friends about us. We're live every Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And we interview some really cool artists, just like Andrew over here. Andrew Ryan. We just interviewed him just moments ago. And again, special thank you to him for his time. Until next time, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not watching now, you'll watch a little bit later, and you're going to love this interview. Until then, you take care. Have a wonderful evening. Again, thank you so much for watching Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show. Again, special thank you to Blue Shamrock Music and Mr. Stephen Brady. Good night, everyone.